Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today I'm here with a Sew the Look for you. I got my Italian dress made up, can't wait to talk about it. But before we get into that, today is Friday, which means we have a Love Notions Feature Friday pattern. And today's pattern is the glissando pants and shorts. It is such a great pattern. If you don't already have it, it's only $5 today only. If you use the code TKS10, you get an additional 10% off that sale price. I love this pant pattern. I've made it quite a few times, both as the shorts and as kind of the cropped pant, like an ankle length pant. I do a little hack on it where I turn, because I have a very wildly fluctuating waistline depending on inflammation. Anyway, so I like pants that can do a little give for me, and I've done a hack on that pattern, and I'll pop a link up to that video up here where I add elastic to the back, which just makes it a much more comfortable waisted pant for me to wear than some others. So anyway, if that is something you're interested in, you're going to want to run over there and grab that pattern, because yeah, $5. It's a fantastic value for quite a few different bottoms that you could add to your wardrobe. Okay, let's start talking about today's Sew the Look. All right, so when I was doing, I think I was doing research for some of the Italian videos that I did when we went to Italy, I came across this inspiration picture. I think this gal is like maybe an Instagram influencer or a blogger or something. I found the picture on Pinterest and I will link. There'll be a link to the original post down below where I pulled it from Pinterest, but loved, this just felt so Italian to me. The easy summer dress with the ties, the fabric of it, in my head it's in linen. I don't know if that's exactly what the original dress is made out of, but it just looked very, very comfortable. And I had just gotten back from Italy and I had purchased some beautiful linen in Venice, and it was like a perfect match. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to recreate this dress. So I did that video. I think it was the 10 looks or 10 ways to recreate Italian, I can't remember what the title of the video was, but basically I was putting together some looks that I saw when we were in Italy, and this was one of them because I definitely saw a ton of linen and some beautiful prints and loose and flowy because it was hot back at the end of May, beginning of June. I think it's like uber, super duper hot there right now, but I digress. Okay, so I knew that I wanted something with a fitted-ish bodice. I wanted the ties, and then kind of just do my own thing when it came to the tiers. So I had previously made the Marcia style Grace dress. I made that for a some Destashify silk that I had grabbed. And actually that dress there was something off about it for me. I think it was the color. I think the color was a little too cool for my palette. I do have a bright blue in my palette, but it's warmer. Anyway, I actually ended up giving both of those silks, that dress and the remnants that I have of both of those silks, to my friend Marissa, who is a summer. And they're a little bold for her because she's a little more muted, but she was all over it. So she has taken that dress. But I still wanted to revisit that dress because I thought it had a lot of potential. So I decided to make view A, which is the view that has the ties. So the straps tie at the top of the shoulder, which is a little annoying. Honestly, because it's hard to get everything even, and I got them tied on my shoulders, and hopefully I never have to retie them. I can slip the dress on pretty easily on and off over my head, but man, it's just hard to tie and get it where it wasn't like sitting at the front, where the ties were sitting like right at the top of my shoulder. I got it done. I guess I could have asked my daughter maybe, but you know, I didn't. But I really wanted that tie detail because it really spoke to the inspiration picture, and I don't know, there was something very extra summery about having those ties at the top of my shoulder. So I went with view A. I sewed the size 10 with the D to F cup. So this pattern has A to C cup front and a D to F cup front. Now, there's not very much ease in the bodice of the pattern when you're going from the body measurements for the pattern and then the finished measurements. And this is kind of I wanted a little bit more ease. So I hated to size up too much because I didn't want the armholes to get too big. Honestly, if I'd gone off my full bust measurement, it put me between an 8 and a 10. I decided to go with the 10 because that was a little closer to my full bust measurement, but I felt like I needed still a little bit more. So I ended up taking the D to F, so the fuller bust front, and I added an extra 1.5 inches to that with a full bust adjustment. So I did 3/4 of an inch of a full bust adjustment on each side, and that seems to be perfect. I feel like it's fitting me really, really well. Very comfortable. Now, this fabric was expensive, like very expensive. It was like 60 euros a yard. It was expensive. But you're only in Venice once. I bought this at a shop in Venice, and we'll talk more about the fabric in a second, but it is divine. But I didn't want to, I'd done the full bust adjustment and I was a little worried about it fitting properly. So a good tip, if you're not wanting to make a full toile, this bodice is lined, and I'll show it to you in a second. So I cut the lining out of just some white cotton lawn, and then I tried that on. I just pinned it to my bra straps because obviously it didn't have the straps on it yet. Pinned it where it would sit on my bra straps, and made sure everything looked okay, felt okay. It was perfect. So then I unpicked my side seams and went ahead and cut out my fabric or cut everything out in the full of the fabric. So I love this dress. Okay. So I'll show you the insides. It's just a lined bodice, which finishes off the neck edge and the armholes really beautifully with 4 straps that then get, tied on each side, 2 on each side to get tied at the top. So it's a very simple construction. Now for the tiers, I went a little AWOL on the tiers because I really like the proportion of the tiers that I have on the Pattern Emporium Meet You There Take a Chance tiered shirt dress. So I just went back to that pattern and looked at what the tiers were that I did for that. And for that dress, I do a 7-inch tier and then 2 11-inch tiers to get the length of dress. Well, I wasn't really taking into account that this bodice sits higher than that bodice. That bodice is a little bit longer. It hits a little bit more at my natural waist, where this one hits just a little higher. And so once I had the tiers all sewn, I was holding it up to myself and I was like, oh, I just want a little bit more length. I didn't want it maxi, but I wanted it like T length a little bit more. So I went back and added another 6-inch tier at the bottom. And I say 6-inch, it was 6-inch before the seam allowances where I gathered everything to the skirt. When I bought this fabric, I bought the bolt because there was only a little over 4 meters left on the bolt. So I just went ahead and bought the whole thing. Very glad I did. I probably have 1/2 meter left, and that is it. I used everything else making this gigantic skirt, which feels so luxurious and floaty. My sister had originally wanted a skirt out of this fabric. I'm so glad I went ahead and made the dress I wanted to make out of it first because I don't have enough for her. I think probably what I'll do is turn it's just a 1/2 meter. I think I'm just going to turn the rest of it into bias binding because this pattern will make beautiful bias binding on all sorts of the insides of my garments. And that'll just make me really happy to be able to have that in there. And again, I had like spaghetti scraps, and then I had that one hunk of about a 1/2 meter, probably about 1/2 yard of fabric left because everything else got cut into strips, sewn together, and then gathered into the bodice. Okay, so I did the full bust adjustment. I did shorten the bodice a little bit because I'm very short-waisted. I shortened it 1 inch. I do that first, and then I did the full bust adjustment. What else can I say about the dress? That's pretty much it. So I had 1 7-inch tier and 2 11-inch tiers and then a 6-inch tier. So there's 4 tiers on this dress. So the fabric is 100% linen. I got it at a little shop in Venice. Obviously I could link the shop, but they just don't have a very good online, it's just basically where the shop is. And I think they do custom sewing out of this shop as well. However, Cloth Edit did have a really beautiful dupe for this, and I've used it as well. It's their Positano linen that I made one of my dresses for Italy out of. which was a great dupe for this. Now it's sold out right now, but I do know that she has sold out of that print before and then gotten it back in. In fact, I think it might be her own design that she has printed up. I could be wrong, but I know that she had changed the scale on it a little bit when she had it printed up on the 100% linen. And maybe the first time it was printed on her linen silk base. I could be wrong though. But anyway, I do know that she has gotten more of that in before. So I am going to link it down below, and maybe if we all pester her to try and get some more in, if she can, Gabriella will be able to do that. So, anyway, I am going to link that down below, but any beautiful print in linen, you're going to be able to recreate this dress. This pattern, and when I saw it in the shop, it is my colors. It's got my like orangey yellow color in there, my macaroni and cheese color, my warm red, my dark blue that's more of like a true blue. It's even got some of the warm green in there. It's just a gorgeous fabric. And the drape on it, it's a really, really fine linen, and I can tell it's a really fine linen, which it should be. It cost an arm and a leg, but this is going to be a dress that I wear for summers to come. I also was watching on Instagram, and it was a reel that someone had put up about how we rush through seasons. You know, everyone's starting already with a lot of the fall stuff, and how we should try and be present in the current season. And that really spoke to me for some reason. It got me thinking that it is the hottest day of the year right now. It is, I think it's supposed to get up to 99 degrees, which is like 37 degrees Celsius, I think, for you metric people. But yeah, 99 degrees Fahrenheit today with the humidity and everything else. We have heat indexes up to like 110, 112 today, which is unheard of. I live in the Midwest, but in the northern part of the Midwest. I'm really close to Chicago. I'm like 2.5 hours away from Chicago. So we're not used to humidity this high, and we're definitely not used to temperatures like this. So we're definitely not in fall. Now, that being said, we are part of the sewing community. We have to work ahead if we want to be able to wear things in the season. So I get that. And I'll still have fall content coming out. But it got me thinking, because for a bit I was like, maybe I'll just wait and make this dress next year so I can have access to it. And I'm like, no, it is literally the hottest it's been all year. Now is the perfect time to make this dress and wear it. So this is going to be on my body tomorrow. I've got some work stuff that I need to do, and this is going to probably be the coolest thing that I can put onto my body, because there's so much skirt, air can just flow freely. Linen is just wonderful and breathable to put on your body. And on that note, I'll talk about the lining here real quick. Okay. I don't want to accidentally untie the straps. That would be disastrous. All right, so I had some cotton lawn. I get asked a lot what I use for linings on things. One of probably my top lining for dresses and things that go up against my body is cotton lawn. So I've got the bodice lined here in cotton lawn, and it's finished off all nice and neatly. The skirt obviously is not lined. But the reason that I love cotton lawn is that it's lightweight, it holds its structure. So even if I were making something in like a rayon or that had more drape, I still like to line bodices with cotton lawn because it just gives a little bit more structure to that bodice. Now, if I were making a bodice that you needed drape, you know, like a beautiful wrap or a cowl or something, that would be a different story. I would want to use fabric with drape, but a lot of times with my rayon dresses, the bodice is a little bit more fitted, and then you want the drape and stuff in the skirt or the sleeve. So in that case, cotton lawn is perfect. It gives just a little bit more structure, and you can find it usually pretty, the solid ones, the solid colors, pretty economically. They're usually not very expensive. I just keep a couple of colors on hand. It's great for pocketing as well. But I love lining most of my dresses with cotton lawn. Now, if you wanted to get real bougie, you could do like a China silk or something. And obviously, if I'm making something like a jacket where it needs to go on over things, even pants where I don't want the fabric catching, you know, where you want a little bit more autonomy between lining and garment, I go for maybe a Bimber rayon or a China silk or something that's slipperier, especially with jacket sleeves, so you can easily get it on and off and still move about freely inside the garment. But yes, for my dresses, I really love a good cotton lawn. So it's something I always keep in my stash. And I'll sometimes have it in a few different colors, but, and I probably do have it in a few different colors, but I always keep a lot of white and a lot of nude to me colored, because that also works great for pocketing on light colored pants. Or even light colored dresses if you're doing lining. So there we have it, guys. That is my sew the look for summer. Probably my last summer sew the look that I'll do. Because now I'll probably, any sew the looks going forward will probably be more fall related, because I have started fall sewing. But that being said, I am still doing some summer sewing. So at the beginning of September, I will do a August makes, what I made in August video, just to kind of wrap up that summer of plans and makes. And I have a couple of things that I am getting done that'll be the only video that it pops up in. But I like to show you guys what I've been working on and what I've been making. And I just gotta say, I am so pleased that I decided to do this with this fabric, and that I didn't sit and wait for the perfect project before I cut into my precious fabric. I have a dog creeping at the door there. Excuse me if you heard the door creaking. I still have those silks that I bought in Italy that I've not cut into yet, but this spurs me on and gives me the fortitude to do that, because I don't want to just sit on my precious fabric. I want it to be made into garments and worn on my body, because there's always going to be another precious fabric, and yeah, we need them in our wardrobe. That's the whole point, isn't it? All right, guys, that is all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you get some sewing in this weekend, and I will be back on Sunday with part 3 of the Spencer Woven Pants Sew Along. Have a good one, and I'll see you there. Bye.